Hi everyone, I'm Kate. I'm an English teacher from the United States. Um, I'm one of many teachers who works here on Verbling. We have classes 24 hours a day in all different languages. So, as I said, I teach English. Today's class is for beginners, and today we'll be speaking about comparative and superlative adjectives. So, we already have some students here. So let's see.
Hi,
Mateo, hi. How are you?
hi, fine, thanks.
Good. Nice to see you again. Good to see you, Mateo.
Oh, sorry. It's good to see you
Good to see
today.
you.
Good to see
I said, good to see you. It's
you.
nice to see you. So I'm
Okay.
happy to
And
see
me
you
too. Me
again.
too. Me
Okay,
too.
good. And Fatih, hello? Is it Fatih? Fatih? Can you hear me?
Oh, hello, teacher.
Hi. Hi,
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
How do you pronounce your name? How do you pronounce your name? Is it Fatih? Okay, not sure he can hear me, but that's okay. Suna, hi. It's nice to see you again as well.
Nice to see you again. How are
How are you
you?
doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. Okay. So, have any of you studied comparative and superlative adjectives before?
Uh, uh, I don't know.
You don't know. Okay,
Okay.
that's okay. So, but does it sound, so have you learned to say, for instance, Mary is tall, but Susan is taller, right? She is more tall.
Yes, I
Yeah.
got it.
Okay, so that's what we'll be talking about today. Okay,
Yes.
good. And let's see, we have another new student, Vu.
Hello, teacher.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Great.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Where are
Okay.
you calling from, Vu?
I'm from Vietnam.
From Vietnam. Okay, very cool. And how long have you been studying English?
Um, it's a long time,
A
maybe
long
10
time.
years. 10
Oh,
years.
wow. Okay,
Yes,
cool.
but I joined public, class from last December.
From last December. Great. Awesome. Well, it's great to have you here. Uh,
Teacher,
yes.
how do I spell your name?
How do you spell my name or say
Yes.
it? It's spelled Caitlin.
How do I pronounce
Pronounce it. You can just call me Kate.
Kate?
Kate. So my full
Kate.
name is Caitlin, but people usually call me Kate.
Kate.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All
Yes.
right. And Giuseppe, hello.
Hello, teacher. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So, as I said, today we'll be talking about comparative and superlative adjectives. These are very important. We use them often in English. We use them very frequently because there are a lot of times where we need to compare one thing to another, right? It happens all the time. So to give you an idea of what we'll be doing in class today, we'll start by we'll learn the grammar, right, of comparative adjectives and then of superlative adjectives. And then we'll practice using them in different settings, right? So we'll practice describing pictures and we'll practice comparing different topics, different objects, things like that. Okay, Any questions before we get started? Okay, no questions. So, good. So I want to tell you about some things that I've noticed living in different countries. I'm going to compare my experience living here in Spain with my experience living in the United States. Okay, so I grew up in the United States, and everything there is bigger. Everything is bigger. Everything from streets to meals, right? Food in restaurants, everything is bigger than it is in Spain, for better or for worse. And where I lived, in New York, things were more expensive. They were much more expensive. I've lived in Spain, and I think Spain is more relaxed than the United States. So even in cities, it seems like life is slower, right? People are more calm. They're calmer. I've also lived in Andorra. Andorra is less urban than the other places I've lived, and it is more mountainous. It's more natural. Okay, so did any of you hear some comparative or superlative adjectives in what I just said?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
what were they? What's that? Okay, I can't hear you. So the question was, did any of you hear? Huh? Okay, can you type it for me? Okay. So the question was, did anyone hear any comparative or superlative adjectives that I used while talking about different places where I have lived?
Yes, I hear.
Okay.
You use some adjectives. More expensive. It is bigger.
Good.
Um, uh, uh, I just remember two adjectives.
Okay. Very good. So I said, good. I said New York is more expensive,
Yeah.
right? So in this sentence, I'm typing in the Verbling chat box. In this sentence, what is the comparative adjective?
Yes.
More expensive,
Yeah,
right?
more.
More expensive. So here, I could say Barcelona is
Oh.
but New York is, sorry. Okay, so Barcelona is expensive, but New York is more expensive,
Yeah.
right? So I'm saying one is expensive and one is more expensive. Okay. Let's see. I also said, good, you also said bigger, right? So I said, I could say food in, I could say food in Andorra is big, but food in the US is bigger, right? So here, what are we comparing?
Bigger.
Sorry, but in this case, food in Andorra is big. In the US is bigger. But big food it's good, not big
No,
big.
no, it's not. It's just bigger. So
Which
I'm saying,
which
if
is the difference?
so if you go to a restaurant
Ah,
in Andorra, you'll get a plate that's pretty big, like this.
plate. Okay.
If you go to a restaurant in the US,
Quantity.
yeah,
Okay.
you'll get something like this, right? Something huge,
Okay.
very big. So one's not better than the other. It's simply bigger. Okay, so we're saying we're comparing how one thing varies from one country to another. Okay, any questions so far?
No?
Okay.
Question.
And is it Omer? Omer?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Fine.
Great. How do you pronounce your name?
Little.
Sorry?
Little.
No, your name? How do
Uh,
you pronounce your name?
Your
How do
name?
you say?
Kelesh.
Emish.
Yes.
Okay, Emish. And where are you calling from?
I'm from Turkey.
From Turkey. Okay, great to have you here. Okay, so if there are no questions, I want you to see if you can figure out how to turn some adjectives into comparative adjectives. Okay, so I know we haven't learned it yet, but I want to see if you can figure out the rules. Okay, so I'm going to share a Google Doc with you. Okay? So if you look in the Verbling box,
Okay.
and I'll post it in the chat box also. Can everyone open this document, please?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Great.
hope.
Good. Okay. So if you look at the first exercise, exercise number 1, let's see. Matteo, can you read the instructions?
Okay.
Great.
Exercise 1. Read the sentences below and then give the comparative form for each of the adjectives listed.
Okay. Excellent. So we have 3 examples. The first three sentences are examples. Okay. So let's see. Ming, can you read the example sentences?
Yes.
Great.
Tennis is a more difficult sport than rugby.
Good.
I think John is happier now than a year ago. Could you open the window, please? It's getting hotter in this room by the minute.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so in each of these sentences, we are comparing 2 things. Okay, so in sentence number 1, about tennis, what 2 things are we comparing? Which 2 things are we comparing in this first sentence?
In the first.
Tennis and rugby.
Excellent. Yeah, we're comparing tennis and rugby. And we are
right.
saying that they may both be difficult, but tennis is more difficult.
Okay.
Okay? So, so here in the first sentence, the comparative is more difficult. Right? Okay. So in sentence 2, what are we comparing?
Happier.
The time.
Good. Yeah. So happier is the comparative, right? And we're comparing
Time.
John now to
And
John
before.
a year ago. Good. So we're saying
Time.
last year he was, yeah, good. It's a difference in time. So last year John was happy on this level, and this year John's happiness is much higher.
Oh,
Okay? He is happier.
happier.
Okay. Okay, and notice, right, that with certain adjectives, we say more difficult. It's incorrect to say difficulter. All right? But with some adjectives, we do add er. So happy turns to, oops, happier.
Happier.
And
Happy turns to happier, but difficult turns to more difficult.
yes, because
Okay.
physical.
What's that?
Is the difficult is physical. So we
Yeah,
all and most.
exactly. Yeah, so if it's more than 2 syllables, instead of adding er, we add more. Okay, very good. Diana, nice to have you here.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so we're looking at this document that's posted in the chat box.
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're on exercise 1. And in the third example sentence, what is the comparative?
Sorry, I can see the document. Please.
It's
you
in the, if you look in the chat box,
It's not.
in the verbling box and in the chat box? No?
Ah, yes.
Okay.
I see now.
Okay,
Thanks.
good. Sorry about that. Okay, so in the third sentence, the third example sentence, what's the comparative in this sentence?
Hotter.
Hotter. Excellent.
Hotter.
And what are we comparing?
I don't know.
And with
This one is a bit difficult.
room.
So we're comparing, when we say it's getting hotter, we're talking about the temperature.
Yes.
So we're
Room.
Yeah? So we're
Uh,
saying the temperature of the room
and window.
is getting hotter over time. So again, it's with time. So it may be hot right now, but after a minute,
Ah, minute, time, okay.
we're comparing temperature at different times. Okay, any questions before we do the exercise?
No, I don't
Okay.
have.
All right, so I want everyone to write down the comparative form of these adjectives. Okay, so take a few minutes and think about it. You can write down notes for yourself, and then we will check your answers. So we can do the first one together. So something can be interesting, and the comparative would
More
be
interesting.
excellent, more interesting. Right? So I could say, example,
This
Harry-
book.
yeah, this.
This book is more interesting
Then the last.
than the last book.
This book that I am reading now is more interesting than the book that I read before. Okay? All right, so everyone take a few minutes and try to figure out the superlative forms, sorry, the comparative forms for all of these adjectives. And then we will review them.
Okay, right in the docs document. Right.
No,
Direct.
maybe write it down somewhere for yourself.
Ah, okay, already. Okay.
In this document, no.
Right, okay.
Okay. Okay, take another minute or so, and then we will review them. Okay, so let's talk about these. Okay, so weak. We can say something is weak, and if we want to be stronger, if we want to say Tim is weak, but John is, how would we say?
Most weak.
So that's the superlative,
Is weaker.
is weaker. Good.
Ah, weaker. Okay.
Weaker, right? Because weak, how many syllables is weak?
2 syllable or 1 syllable.
One syllable, right? So we can probably make it weaker. Okay, good. I think that this comedian is funny, but the
Funnier.
comedian we saw the other day is funnier, right?
Yeah.
And how do you spell funnier?
NIER.
Good. F-U-N-N-I-E. He's funnier.
Funnier.
Okay? And so here, funny is how many syllables?
2.
2, right? So we can still use ER, right? We don't have to say most funny. Okay. Now, when we get to important, so we
More
could say the vice president is important, but the president is
More.
Most.
more important.
More.
Mhm.
Okay.
Good. So what you said, most important, is the superlative. We'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
The one thing with comparatives, we're comparing two things only, right? Only two things. Okay. Yeah, good. Suna, that's another good example. And Giuseppe, you too. Okay. Careful.
Carefuler.
This one is an exception.
No.
It's not carefuler, it's
More careful.
more careful. Okay, more careful. Good. Big.
Better.
Bigger.
Good. Big. And how do you spell bigger?
E-I-G-E-R.
No?
R.
E-R.
ER.
Two G's, right? Since we have a consonant B-I-G, we have a consonant vowel consonant, right? So that means we have to, if we want to add an ending, we have to double the second consonant.
Yeah. Smaller.
Smaller, good. Polluted,
More
More polluted.
great. More polluted, right? How many syllables?
3 syllable.
3. Polluted, more polluted. Great. Let's see. We could say this class is boring, but the other teacher's class is even
More boring.
More boring.
more boring.
More boring.
More boring. Okay? And the last one,
Angrier.
angrier.
Okay.
Angrier.
Angrier. Angrier.
ER. ER. Okay. The last.
Angrier. Okay,
Angrier.
so what are some rules that we use to form superlatives? Sorry, comparatives. Based on this exercise, how do we form the comparative?
We form the comparative based on the words, if it is a monosyllable or it has more syllable. I mean, if it is a monosyllable, we have to add er, the dissonance er at the end of the words. Otherwise, if the word has more than one syllable, we have to add more before the words.
Almost.
Almost.
Okay, so almost perfect. So if it's monosyllable, one syllable, you're right. We add er. But sometimes, if it's two syllables, we add er, right? So if you look at funny, angry,
Bigger.
big is one syllable, but if you look at funny and angry, here we still add er. But with careful, so we have funny, angry, careful. These are all two-syllable words, but sometimes we add er, and sometimes we don't. Okay, and do you want to know the trick?
Of course.
Okay, so the trick is, if it ends with y, like funny, angry, another example would be happy, happier, right? Sleepy, sleepier. Okay, so here, when the words end with y, we more often will add er to make the comparative. But if they do not end with y, those are the words that usually mean we have to add more, like more careful, more helpful, things like that. Questions?
No question.
Okay, good. And then if you have a word that is 3 syllables or more, how do we make the comparative?
More.
More. Perfect. Okay, so good. So a comparative, again, is used when you want to talk about the differences between two things. Two people, two objects, whatever. What if we have a group of things? Or a group of objects? And we want to talk about the best. So imagine we have a group of students. We have student A, no. Okay? Tom, Mary, and John are a group of students. And they're all good students. All of them are good students. Right? All three are good students. So we could say, but Mary is a better student than Tom. Okay? So we could say, Tom is a good student, but Mary is better. But, and that's a comparative, but John is the best student of the entire group. We can use another comparative and say, John is a better student than Mary, or we can simply say, John is the best student. Okay, and best is a superlative. A superlative is used to talk about the most. They end in est or most da da da. Okay, questions?
Is the wrong use together more and better?
No, never. So you cannot say more better. It's wrong.
It's wrong.
It's
Okay.
correct. It's incorrect. Sorry.
Incorrect.
It is
Okay.
wrong.
Wrong. Mistake. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a common mistake, and children, so native English speakers who are children, will often say more better, right? Little children. So natives do it too, but it's incorrect. You have to say better alone. Good.
Only better. Only better. Okay.
Only better. Good question. Okay, so I want to practice this in the same way. So everyone look at exercise 2. And let's see, Suna, can you read the instructions?
Yes. Read the sentences below and then give the superlative from for each of the adjective listed.
Okay, so let's see. Giuseppe, do you mind reading the 3 example sentences?
Yes.
Okay.
New York has got to the best, most exciting city in the world. His biggest desire is to return home. She is probably the hungriest person I know.
Okay, good. So let's find the superlatives. So in the first sentence, New York has got to be the most exciting city in the world. What's the superlative?
Most exciting.
Excellent, right? Because we could say Paris is an Madrid is an exciting city. But New York is the, we're saying of all of the cities in the world, New York is the most exciting, right? The other cities are here. New York is here. It's more exciting than all of them, so it is the most exciting. Okay. In the second sentence, what is the superlative?
Biggest.
Biggest, right? So this is the same as we talked about before. So something we could say, my room is big. My sister's room is bigger, right? My room is big. My sister's room is bigger, but our parents' room is the biggest. Of all the rooms, it is the biggest. Good. And in the last example sentence, the superlative is
Angriest.
angriest. Great. Okay, so just as you did before, I would like you to look at all of these adjectives and write down the superlative form. I'll give you 2 or 3 minutes to do this.
Okay.
Okay. It's okay if you're not finished. We can review them together. So, let's see. Diana, can you do the first one?
Yes. Most interesting.
Excellent. Most interesting. Giuseppe? Weak? The superlative.
Weakest.
Weakest. Good. Matteo, funny?
I think best funny.
Almost. Remember, it ends in Y. It's 2 syllables, and it ends with Y, so we can use ER or EST.
Okay. Funniest.
Excellent. Good. Funniest. And note, again, the Y changes to I.
Okay.
Okay, great. Omer, tell me your name again. Sorry, okay, so can you do important?
Yes. Most important.
Excellent, very good. Most important, right? So you could say, the senator is important, the vice president is more important, and the president is the most important, right, of everyone in the government, at least in the United States. Okay. So Ming, careful.
Oh,
More.
most.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, most. Yeah.
Excellent. Sorry. Okay, great. Suna, big.
biggest,
Biggest. Excellent. Vu, small.
Smallest.
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 Excellent. Diana.
Most polluted.
Excellent. Giuseppe, boring?
Most boring.
Most boring? Wonderful. And Matteo, angry?
Angriest.
Angriest. Excellent.
Angriest.
Angriest. Angriest. Okay, good.
Okay, okay.
So, any questions about the superlative?
No.
Okay, so how do we form the superlative? How do we form the superlative?
With one syllable, we add est
Perfect.
at the end of word.
Good.
Yes, with the above two syllables, we use most before the comparative adjective.
Good. And then if it's two syllables?
We choose what I think we choose what we add the most.
Yeah, you have to choose, right? And as we said before, if it ends in Y, it's more likely to use the EST. Whereas if it ends with another letter, like in careful, we will add most, right? So more careful, most careful, but funnier, funniest. Okay.
Okay,
Good.
teacher.
Very good. So let's practice using these. Okay? If you scroll down to, so for now, skip exercise 3 and go directly to the two pictures. Okay, you'll see two pictures of houses. Does everyone see the pictures?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so I want you to compare these two houses. And using them, I want you to use comparative adjectives to compare these two houses.
I can see clear the first house.
Okay. Oh, you can't see it.
No. It's
Scroll over the last.
Is everyone having that problem?
Scroll the last page.
It's on the last page.
I'm the
Diana, you're saying
see.
it's not clear?
It's not clear the first house.
Okay, can you refresh the document?
Yes.
Okay, try that. Are other students having the same problem?
No, I don't have.
No? Okay. All right, so while she refreshes the document, okay, good. We can look at Vu has them here. Great. Okay. So, okay. So, Diana, is it better now?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so let's hear some sentences that compare these two pictures.
The second house is more bigger than the first one.
Okay, the second house. Okay, the second house is more bigger than the first one.
Yes.
Is this correct? There's one problem here. What's the problem?
No more.
Okay, no, Diana. Almost perfect, Diana. But what you have to say, if you have bigger, if you add ER, you cannot also add more,
Ah, it's
right?
bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So it should be the second house is
Yes, I forgot.
no problem. Good, great sentence. Okay, Suna, can you read your sentence?
Yeah. The first house older than the second house.
Great, good. The only thing that is missing is a verb.
Is older. The first
The
house
first
is
house
older.
is older than the second house. Great. Other comparatives.
Second arm is more beautiful and than to
Okay, good. The second home is more beautiful than the first home.
than the
Very good.
first arm. Okay.
Excellent. Good. Okay, Vu, can you read your sentence?
Yes, the second one has less cheese than the first one. I want to delete beautiful. Beautiful.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, has less beautiful.
Oh, wait me a moment. I will write again my sentence. Oh yes. And now beautiful.
The second
Because
one. Uh,
first I want to make a sentence with beautiful, but
okay.
someone else make it
Okay, so you changed. Okay, good. So you could say the second one has fewer trees
fewer.
than the first one. Better to say fewer.
Second arm
Oh yes.
is oh sorry.
No,
The second arm is more expensive than the first arm.
excellent. Perfect sentence. The second home is more expensive than the first home. Great. Any other things we can say?
There are much more windows in the second one.
Okay. There are more windows in the second house. Okay, good.
The second one is more populated than the first one.
Good. Excellent, right? It looks like more people are actually living there. It's more populated. Very good, Diana. Good. Okay. Good. A lot of good sentences. Any others? Okay.
The second house has more plants in the garden than the first one.
Okay. So, hold on. Okay, good. So, one thing for the second, so for the sentence about the windows and the sentence about the plants, these sentences are correct, but I just want you to note that they are not comparative adjectives, right? You are making a comparison, but you're comparing nouns, right? You're not comparing adjectives. Okay?
Okay,
All right, no problem though. Okay, and then ASDFGH, interesting name, has posted the second house is higher than the first house, right? Also a good use of the comparative higher. One house is high, but the second house is higher. Okay. Any questions about this? All right, so let's actually now jump back on the page. So go back up to exercise 3.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Vu, can you read the directions? Vu?
Yes, I wait me a minute. Oh my gosh.
Exercise 3. So if you go up, it's before the pictures.
Oh yes. Choose one of the topics below and think of 3 examples from that topic. For example, sports, football, basketball, and surfing. Compare the 3 objects.
Okay, good. So they give you, so here you have 6 categories, right? 6 topics. And so I want you to choose one of these 6 categories, and from that category, think of 3 things. Right? So they've given you an example. If you choose sports, you could say football, basketball, and surfing. And then I want you to think of some ways you can compare the 3 objects from your category. Okay? And so obviously I want you to use comparative and superlative adjectives. Okay, so I'll give you an example with cities. Okay, so imagine that the cities I choose are New York, Washington, and Miami. Okay, so I could say New York is hot in the summer, but Washington is hotter in the summer. And Miami is the hottest city of the 3. Right, so that's just one example. But I want you to think of many sentences. So you could also say, Miami has a lot of, let's see, Miami is fun. It's a fun city, right? There are a lot of things to do there. But I think that Washington is more fun. I have more fun in Washington. However, New York is definitely the most fun city. Okay, so that's an example. I was using comparatives and superlatives. Okay, so I want each person to choose a category, think of 3 items in that category, and think of ways that you can compare them using comparatives and superlatives. So go ahead, take a few minutes, and then I'll ask each one of you to say a few sentences. Okay, Giuseppe, can we look at your sentence? So can you read me your sentence, Giuseppe? Ah,
Yeah, correct. Sorry.
okay. Rome is bigger than other cities in Italy, but the most important city is Milan. Okay, great. Good. Okay, does anyone else have an example? Okay, Wu, so can you read me your example?
Yes. Germany played better than Brazil.
Germany played better than Brazil. So good, a good use of the comparative. And what about a superlative?
As positive. Brazil is the unluckiest football team in World Cup.
Okay, good. You're saying it's the unluckiest.
Unluckiest, yes.
Unluckiest, good. Okay, good. So Germany played better than Brazil. Brazil is the unluckiest team in the World Cup. Good. Let's hear some other sentences.
Washington is a small city, but Miami is smaller than Washington, but San Jose is the smallest city.
Good. Okay, excellent. Great use of a comparative and a superlative. Very good. Any others?
I have Japan was eliminated quickly in World Cup.
Japan was eliminated quickly. Ah, the quickliest, you're saying. Sorry? Who?
Oh yeah. Teacher, can you speak louder?
Sorry. Did you say Japan was eliminated the quickliest?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, the quickliest. Okay, good. Good.
Comedy movie is funnier than thriller movie.
Comedy movies are funnier than thrillers. Great.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, and similarly, Suna, can you read your sentence? Sentences?
Yeah. Animation movie is funny, but superhero movie funnier. But I think the funniest movie is romantic comedy.
Okay, good. So almost perfect. A few small corrections. Animation movies are funny, but superhero movies are funnier. And I think the funniest movies are romantic comedies. Okay, very good. You have a comparative and a superlative. Okay, and we are actually out of time. That went by quickly. Thank you all very much for coming to class. I hope you learned something. As always, feel free to send me any messages with questions, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
teacher.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you for your teaching.
Bye bye.
Bye.